It is time to experience a different radio station in digital broadcasting. WKIT. Pyramid One World Radio Network with broadcaster Bob Charles. Our programming is based on truth, faith, and love. We have studios in Florida, Texas, and Australia. So let's begin into subjects that change our perceptions about the world around you and I. Pyramid One World Radio with Jamie Clark, psychic and medium, and Bob Charles, broadcaster, will help you find your life path and soul guidance to make your life fuller in life and love. Jamie is here for you and the world. Now to ask questions about your life and a free reading from award-winning psychic Jamie Clark. Start dialing 609-663-0153 or listen live on TuneIn by just writing Pyramid One Radio in the TuneIn search engine. Now let's have some fun tonight by starting this lesson by adding some facts. Our life path is a subject that has intrigued humans for centuries. Many wonder if our souls have a predetermined plan. Some believe that our souls have an innate wisdom and intuition that can guide us toward fulfilling our purpose in life. This concept raises questions about destiny, free will, and their interplay. While it is fascinating to ponder whether our souls tell us where to go and what to do, it is important to remember that we also have agency in shaping our own lives. We can make choices, set goals, and act toward creating the life we desire. Exploring this topic can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and help us align with our true passions and values. It can remind us to listen to our inner voice, trust our instincts, and make decisions that resonate with our authentic selves. Ultimately, whether or not our souls guide us on a specific life path is subjective. What matters most is how we choose to navigate through life's journey, embracing opportunities for growth and staying true to ourselves along the way. Now put your hands together and introduce Jamie Clark, who will now help us to the light of our true path through the gift he will now give to everyone listening.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that's a great intro. Thank you, Bob. I think that brings up a very interesting dynamic, and that is our life path, our soul's growth, and the evolution of our soul of consciousness. I think that's a big dynamic that people are starting to wake up and open up to where there could be more than what we thought. And in this case, just from my awareness, I've always found, as you know, Maggie does astrology as well as numerology and other things. But I've always found it fascinating that a lot of people who have a particular sign have a lot of those qualities and characteristics.
Oh,
What
yeah.
if, just potentially, you choose each life you come in by the stars, by the placement, so that you can get personality characteristics, dynamics, opportunities, aspects, and experiences. And again, once we start to realize, wow, we're here because we choose to, not because we have to. For me, this is not the only planet we've lived on. This is just the most recent. What about infinity? Because scientifically, we're eternal beings, right? Cannot be created nor destroyed because we're energy. There you go. And now we get to keep going. And what if we can build lifetime upon lifetime? To go, hey, you know what? I'm here for this lifetime. I'm going to set an example, and then I can be reborn, or as we do it, come back in, and then that'll already be waiting for me. Literally, there is something to, hey, I'm my own grandpa or my own grandma. That stuff's real. I've seen
Oh, yeah.
that. Like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
wow.
Yep. And DNA line of a family. And that it started somewhere. All DNA started somewhere. We're all brothers and sisters, one way or the other. And I don't care if you're purple.
Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
doesn't matter. You could have been green. Who knows? But, the thing is, like, the reason why I wrote that, actually, before you said what you had said,
Hmm.
somebody at work and I turned around and we were talking about something like that. And I said, man, I said, that gets me down to my soul. So the girl next to me in that turn says to me, she says, oh, down to your soul? What else is down in your soul? I said, you don't know? She goes, she goes, what are you talking about? She goes to me. And I said to her, I says, well, I said, I said, really? I said, the soul, I said, is the little thing inside you that makes you you. I said, let me put it to you in another way. And I told her the joke that I think I've been telling on this station for years. You get that crazy little rabbit that goes boing 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 boing, and it's called Energizer Bunny, right? Okay, we are energy or Energizer bunnies. The battery is the soul. Without the battery, there's no body. Goodbye, see ya, laugh, dead, gone, throw them in the garbage, whatever. But it's one of these things. Whereas we are actually powered by energies from the universe that flow through us that make us us.
Yes, and is us. Exactly. Yes. You're bringing up a very interesting point because we are vibrational light beings.
Right.
And
Exactly.
in that, yeah, when I do the mediumship, I always make a fact that isn't it interesting how our loved ones who come through as the most recent person that they've been on this planet. They don't come through as one of the other lifetime in those vehicles. They
Right.
come
Right.
through with familiarity.
Uh-huh.
I had a friend who I was talking with and listening to, and she was talking about a bright white light, but I knew it was my grandpa. I'm like, right, we are the light essence of the oneness. And it is that connection, just like you said, that powers up this physical body. Because if you don't have the soul in there, it's just an empty vehicle. That's it.
Right.
I
Right.
always equate us, if we're in a cemetery, as the parking lot. Like, we're all in a bunch of vehicles, man. And what do you want to get a new make and model? Do you want to change it up? What? Do you like the oldies but goodies? Whatever works for us is what we're allowed to do. Because I always say, the universe is that who will make us do nothing and allow us to do everything. That's why good, bad, happy, sad on this planet exist all at one time.
Well, I tell you, man, when I was on the other side, I made them guarantee I'm not going back to kindergarten.
Yeah, huh? And what happened? Can you share again what happened when that near life experience happened?
It's let me see if I can make it so that people make it believable because there's too many integers in there. I had a car accident. I don't remember anything about the car accident. That was wiped from my mind. Went through the window, down the road, and everything else. And that they picked up this little thing. I was crunched up in a little ball, the whole 9 yards. And according to the picture that I saw, I was pretty dead. I was a bloody mess. It was like, oh man, the body was all over the place. Anyway, the thing that happened was I just opened my eyes, and all I could see was this green valley kind of deal with one tree. And it was like it was the most beautiful place, and just the sweet smell and the feeling, just the feeling itself. I've said this to people so many times. It's like being in the best air conditioned hotel you've ever been to in your life. One of these things that with the grass outside and the trees and the palm trees and the whole 9 yards. And it was just unbelievable. So I figured, well, I'm going to look around a little bit, right? I'm here. I might as well take a walk. So I take a walk and then over to this area that was a very bright area. I mean, we're talking like looking in an LED flashlight, one of these kind of deals. Bright, bright, bright. And I figured, well, I might as well go look and see what that is, because it was like a pull, kind of, sort of like it was a draw to you. Like everything else became second nature, kind of, sort of. It was like, there it goes.
Yep.
And it wasn't going through no thing or anything else in that. I just again opened up my eyes, and that because I was looking around, I was like, what the hell is going on? That's what I'm saying to myself, in that place. And I bumped into my dad. Now, this was 1982, and in 1982, yeah, something was around there. And, or was it 92? Might have been 92. Anyway, my father died in 61. So he died a long time. I mean, I was 9, and I was like, I don't know, 25, 26, 27 when I had the accident. So, it was like you kind of sort of, even as yourself, you feel great because you see that person, but on the other hand, you don't believe you're looking at that person, which is weird. You know what I mean? It's like it's like checking yourself out. Like, am I dead?
But look, there is no death. Exactly.
But you don't know. It's one of these things. So I looked at my father, and my father, when I finally, was alive and everything, and that I realized and remembered what I saw. He was in the uniform that he was in the morning I saw him go out the door to go to work of the afternoon that he passed away. So when you brought up the thing about, you go to a place and people see you when they're, mediumship or whatever, and that they see them when they left, what they look like? That's exactly what I saw. It was the exact uniform that he had, because he was a truck driver. Exactly the same uniform and the hat. And I remembered the colors of the buttons that were on the hat. And the buttons were the union buttons, the Teamsters that were on. Now, I'll tell you a real quick one in between. We'll kind of link this together. I told my aunt had come to see me in the hospital, and I had told her the whole story, just like we're talking now. And I had told her about the buttons. My aunt knew the buttons. And she goes, "You're kidding." I said, no, there was the red one, the green one, the yellow one, and another green one. And she's going, oh my God. I mean, nobody believed me that I was a dead guy and came back. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. The only one that really put any body behind what I had to say was the doctor, was a neurosurgeon that put my brain back together. That guy turned around to me and he says, and this is like a day and a half later, because when I woke up, I mean, hey, listen, they have you, there's wires all over you. There's a thing down your throat. There's all kinds of stuff in there going on and everything. And I woke up like that. Boom. This is like 28 days later.
Wow.
Like bang, and you're up. A, I was hungry. B, I was like, what the hell's going on around? You give it one of those because you don't know, right? So you look at those kind of things, and the other thing that I had to do was I really had to go to the bathroom. I'm serious. I mean, first of all, nobody believed that I could have felt anything. Period. Because I
That's
mean,
amazing.
the bot was running on empty as it was. So okay, so they pull all these things out and everything else, and then they pull out all kinds of stuff and that. And the woman says, she says, well, if you really, like I told her, I said, you got to get this crap out of me. So I said, whatever, I want to go to the bathroom. So these two big guys and this nurse are going to take me and carry me to the bathroom so I can go to the bathroom. Okay. I told them, I said, get away from me. I actually literally got up on my 2 feet and
Wow.
to the bathroom. That's when the doctor turned around and he says, I believe every single word that guy said. Because how do you just get up and literally walk to the bathroom?
Yeah,
I mean,
huh?
come on, after 28 days and that your muscles and everything else are all screwed up, you're screwed up. There was a morphine pump that was
Wow.
up there.
Right.
And that because they did the brain thing. I mean, where they split the skull, it split the brain. The brain literally got like this.
Wow.
So this guy that was from Italy, he was a visiting neurosurgeon, but he was something else that did all kinds of weird sewing stuff. Anyway, he did that as an experiment in Italy. I'm serious.
Wow.
He's the guy to put the brain back together because they had to rejoin the bigger parts of the nerves and everything that were on both sides. So they had to do that first, and then it was like a 20-hour operation on a brain. And after they did the whole thing, they went like this. I mean, it was like,
It's about the best you can do with it.
damn,
Yep.
I hope it works. So then, yeah. So then I actually literally got up and walked to the bathroom. I mean, that was a miracle right there.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was, whatever. I mean, what I am is what I am, and I was, and whatever. I mean, something put me back together again. If anybody ever says to me or questions in any way, God or Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, I don't know about him, but there was another guy in there somewhere. I mean, it
I'd
was
have to say he is
and you don't see him. You don't see God. You feel God. So many people that don't get it. It's like, when people go to work and or they go to church or something and they, oh, my Jesus, Jesus. No. Ask him. If you want something, ask for it. And then say thank you. And that's yours. That's your thing. Gratitude. No gratitude, you don't get squat. One of those things. But on the other hand, these people are people that we should all respect, whether we believe or not. It is a part of our life, part of our spirit, part of our makeup, part of why we're here in the first place. Everybody turns around and says, "Oh, well, you just get together in a hotel for a night." No, 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 no. It's not that easy. Somebody somewhere a long, long time ago said, "This is what's going to happen," and he put his hand on it and said, "Hey, this is what's going to happen," and it did. Nothing made the neurons, the neutrons, and all these kind of things that move around cells. They didn't like who told those cells to make a liver? Who told a bunch of other cells to make a heart? Who other ones said, "Oh, you're a bone today"? It's all these things that happen. People don't realize what a miracle we live in every day, and yet we've got idiots in Washington that think that think they're God. No, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. But this is what it is, and that we have to. And I think I'm gonna have my own show soon.
Excellent.
It's gonna be one of these kind of things that where I want people to come in and ask me questions. I want to talk about these kind of things to people, not death or anything else. About spirituality as far as what it really is, and people don't understand.
Well, and
simple.
that's a huge dynamic, right? I think things have gone askew to go, okay, what is this stuff you're thinking about? Because I gotta share that you bring up a very interesting point for me, and that is I have a lot of doctors that are clients of mine, and almost all of those doctors have said that when a patient dies, and they bring them back, most of the time the first words out of that person's mouth, "Why'd you bring me back?" That's the
Bingo.
first time I felt
How many,
loved. I felt connected. I'm like, yes.
how many times did I say that to you?
Yeah, or
I
yes.
I said to say I've said it
And they
on this
all
show
say
before.
it. Yes.
Right. I mean, it's like you don't like when my father told me I didn't belong there. That's what my father told me. When
Isn't
he
that
said
he
that,
knew that? I've heard that. People are like, that's not your time. And they get pushed
right?
back. Like, isn't that kind of impressive that they know your time frame?
Yeah, and it doesn't. It's like, well, put it this way. When he said that, I woke up 28 days later. Look at the frame of time in between. You know what I mean? It's like the brain took it as, in other words, when I became me again, it was the last thing that happened is what sparked in the brain. It was meant to happen to make me understand why I was there.
Not only that, I think you bring up an interesting point that you could see the green everywhere. And then there was a large tree. It
Right.
wasn't like it was just energy moving.
Uh-uh.
That's another thing that a lot of people may not realize is when you do the mediumship, a lot of times they'll think that it's consciousness and it's floating in space. And I'm like, one, I never ever talk to the dead. There are none. I always share the fact I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but how we perceive death is you die in this dimension and then you go to the other side after this. And my thing is, I say, one, everything's spiritual. Two, life is relative because we as humans are extraterrestrials to everyone else. And I always say, aren't we right now living on the other side of where we come from before here? And that means we must have died, or could it just be a shift in consciousness and vibrational patterns of energy? Because we live our entire life in one breath. For when we come in, we breathe in, and when we go out, we breathe out. The trick is to breathe, and you will live that eternal life. And I see so many people that have the same dynamic to go, it was physical. I could feel stuff. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Each dimension has its own vibratory rate and seems just as solid as this one. And they always say, oh, yeah, nothing's solid. It's all vibrations, light, energy, and frequencies. You just learn to read it. And it's that kind of connection that when you came back, Bob, was there a shift in consciousness for you? Were you in some ways seeing or feeling things differently in any way, or pretty much just straight across?
You appreciate things better. You know what I mean? It's like when you live from birth to death, everything that you learn from birth to death is basically the same thing over and over again. It's like having one of these Groundhog Days.
Yeah, we slow but sure.
Yeah, but it's like over and over and over and over again. On the other hand, when you're in the other place, that's a whole different experience. Like I've said to you a million times, it's like getting hit with 100,000 billion loves right in the face. The feeling is so overpowering. Like when people talk about like tornadoes going by their houses that sound like freight trains and things like that. This is a silent freight train coming straight at you.
But you can feel
You
it.
can feel it.
Yes.
And like I said, when you're there, you can feel. If anybody says they can't feel, they're out of their mind or they're on something. I don't know, who knows. Even if you're on, by the way, to everybody out there, once you die, even if you're on something, you're not on the other side.
I got to tell you,
100% normal.
yes, you bring up a very interesting point because most everyone who comes through is in the whole shift of a mindset. And there are a lot of people who may have gradually taken their own life or overdosed or drank themselves or whatever the case is. And when you get over there, you feel so amazing just by being you that all of a sudden those other things are toxic. Like, I don't need that. And you've got the rejuvenated energy of consciousness. I think that a lot of people are now starting to wake up to go, maybe there could be a little bit more than what I was aware of. Because again, there's a lot of information that at the moment still hasn't been shared with humanity. I will just say, just from my awareness, there is a lot of technology that is already here that may not be put out in any way yet. There's a slow roll. And again, I'm not a doctor or a scientist. However, they have the next wave of healing modalities is going to be moving from the medicinal, the pills and things like that, to what they call vibrational frequency targeting. They literally already have the technology.
Oh, they already do it.
Yeah.
They already
Okay.
do it.
Yeah, they can target
I know
only
that.
cancer. Well, and that's the point is the drug companies who make billions and billions and billions of dollars a year are
They
not
don't.
going to just go, oh, we don't. Right. It's going to be a slow roll so that everyone's on the bandwagon and no one gets a miss on that abundance thing.
If you notice, a couple of years ago, we had a big urge, or should I say, well, it was a push into the spiritual direction. There was a lot of that going around, and it died when we had different politics and everything else, and different media and everything else, and then cell phones now up people's noses. But yeah, I didn't mean it though. But anyway, when you look at this kind of stuff, and that spiritual is kind of sort of it's hovering. It's there, but we're not. There's not enough of us talking about it.
And
And
notice it's there. It doesn't make you, it
right,
allows you. Yes.
yes, yes. And when you talk about it on your shows and things, and that when we talk about it, I mean, people have written me that took down maybe a copy of one of the shows that was on there, and they'll turn around and they'll say, well, you guys talk, and then I have to go back to the show to see what she's talking about. Come on, you do 13, was it 13 years of shows?
Yeah, you've done hundreds and
That's
probably
that's
thousands
yeah,
now.
that's yeah, it gets kind of crazy. I have to ask her what was the version number on it. But it's one of these things that where you go back and you learn that you and I, and a couple of other hosts that I've had on, are perpetuating spiritual knowledge. I would call it, you can call it spirituality, you can call it anything you want to. But it's the fact that we are telling people that you are you. There's even a thing out now, there's a new song out that says, who's the one that did it? On tip of my tongue, I can't spit it out. But anyway, it's a singer, an older singer that had this thing out. It's called I Am.
Ooh,
And I almost fell
very
out
cool.
of it. I was like, that's my line. Get out of here.
I will tell you, every time I unify with the oneness, those are the words I hear. I am. I am. Not I was, not I will be. I am.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it gets kind of scary too when you hear it back because you know what it is. We know what it is. What I am is. We know that it's to be yourself, to be you.
Yes.
What
Yes,
God
it
gave
is
you is what you got. That's it. No more, no less. That's it. On the other hand, so many people, when you say I am, they go, where's that from? What do you mean, where's it from? From you. No, it's not from me. I never said that. Yes, you did.
See, and the good thing is we're being allowed to find our own spiritual path within all of these different paths and perspectives because it's whatever works for you. But in the end, we all get to go to the same place. It is all one. I always say cosmically, we're all the same age. Truly, cosmically, we are all one. And then we have what we call old souls. And I always share the fact that just from my perspective, an old soul is someone who's been coming back to this planet a lot more than the average person who seems to have like a knack or a connection to it. That is an old soul because all of us are eternal. With that quantum physics, right? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, so it's always been. My thing is with that, because I love the scientific methodology, if they have scientifically systematized and categorized and the practicality of that stuff, and then it's real, one, science is starting to validate a lot more of the spiritual dynamics, moving from, oh, sure, to, oh, okay, maybe there is something more than what we thought. And the cool thing is when we can be practical, question everything. That's what I love, is then I'm opening up to go, well, I don't quite understand something, so could you please, phrase it in a way that I could get it? The universe is always speaking to us. It is talking with us. And here's what it's doing. What can I do for you? What can I do? What can I do? And that's why I think it's a great thing that you bring up. An interesting dynamic is if you ask or pray for anything from the universe, give gratitude that you've received it, because the universe is always for us and never against us. So most of us will pray for things. And if we pray for things, what you're really saying is someday, I hope it's going to happen. So the universe is looking at you going, oh, you see it as someday. You must want it someday. I'll give you someday. You're like, when the frick is it going to happen? Act as though I am. You got it. And I will be. And that way.
You got somebody on the phone.
Cool. Let's bring them on.
I see somebody over there. Who's on, let me see, area code 718.
Hey, Loretta, what's going on?
Oh, I just always love to hear you talk, Jamie. I love when you talk, and I love when you say things about the other side and the spiritual end of it all. I love it.
And look, we are all coming together. This one subject is allowing each one of us in our own perspective to bring it together with a bigger picture. What if each one of us is a
Yes, it's
puzzle piece? Yeah. And
right. Absolutely. And that's always nice to know that I hope into God that someday we will all be together again.
we will. We will. You know, I always say in doing this my whole life, I'm not afraid of dying in any way at all. It's just the way that I would go. I was like, oh, okay. Because I like, you know, I always share, man, when you feel that amazing and you realize that there is truly no death, it is all lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, that we give ourselves permission to start living while we're here on this planet, not just existing and surviving. Because so many of us will just, yeah, just exist. Yes, it's great. And when's it over? It's like, oh, okay, if that works for you, you know,
Can I interject something? The
please.
funny thing about it is, if you've ever, if someone is passed that you were connected to, that either anything from a husband to a brother to a cousin to a best friend, whatever, when you're on the other side, you can literally, I mean, they don't have to find you, you don't have to find them. You'll feel them. You
You
feel
know they're so
that's how everybody finds everybody when they're on the other side. You can literally feel, and it's not like a touch or anything. It's a drawing of yourself. You can feel it pull you in a
See, and
certain direction.
I think that brings up a very interesting point. Just for me, a lot of people tend to associate feelings and emotions as the
Mhm.
same thing. And certainly, you know, that can be there, but for me, no. To me, they're two different things. One, emotions to me are happy and sad. Feelings are an acknowledgement of a particular emotion, circumstance, dynamic, or potential. Because I always share on average, when somebody says this, they say it like this: I feel happy, or I feel angry. They don't go, I happy. It's an acknowledgement, in this case, of a particular emotion. And those feelings are vibrational patterns on the soul nubs. And one feeling is worth 1,000 words and then some for me. That's why I don't think anything, but I feel everything. And when we can get those gauges, that's exactly right. You'll know who that person's soul print is. Because like I was sharing, for my friend to have that bright light right there, but she knew, she didn't think, she knew it was her grandpa. I'm like, that is brilliant. That kind of validates that energy that, you know, when we're doing the mediumship, they'll come through as the most recent person so that we've got a connection, grandma, grandpa, friend, whoever it is. And then they can start to bring in other aspects of life experience. Because when you're on the other side and you feel that amazing, we do have soul groups, people we kind of hang out with. When you feel that great, a lot of times we'll kind of plan some of the circumstances here, going, hey, you know what, I'm going to go back to this cute planet right there. And since you're going, you know what, I'm going to come in because I love you so much. I'm going to come in and I'm going to play my part in that particular lifetime for you. And I'll either be hopefully the one who loves or heals. Otherwise, I'll be the one who abuses and, you know, does all that. And you'll be like, oh, okay. Because I kind of say, when you feel that amazing, it is easier to go, oh, yeah, this life experience. Oh, yeah. It's not so easy when we're here going, yeah, freaking great, sure. It's nope. You got that connection, and it allows us to feel life again. And you're very good for other people as well, Loretta.
Well, I'll tell you, I feel sometimes people around me. I have seen you in person, Jamie, a few times. Every time I come out feeling just so warm inside.
Beautiful.
I really do. You're just absolutely wonderful how you explain everything, and that is important to me.
Yes, yes. Otherwise, I'm just talking. Like, do, 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 do. And you're like, what? Huh? What does that mean? So when we can have that communication, and thank you for that, and it's always a pleasure to see you. But it's also in a way to go, look, we will feel those person's energies even while they're here. Because I always share the fact that, to me, right, how we create and co-create realities with others is through natural laws that exist in this universe. And I always say any natural law is never, ever selective of itself as to who the user is of that natural law. Like the soil in the ground, I always say that soil of itself doesn't question anything about you in any way, what kind of person you are, happy, sad, murderer, healer, green, purple, orange. And it doesn't question what seed you're planting. If you're planting that seed, you must want it to grow. So I share the fact that here's how I read for people, psychic and mediumship wise. The seemingly thin, empty air of nothingness is pure God soil. Every thought you have is a seed you're planting into the cosmic soil. Your attention to those thoughts, to those seeds, are what waters them to grow. And through another natural law that I call a vibrational match or cause and effect, is how we've come to see things as karma. Right? You're going to send, you're going to get something back. What if it is actually just one of the natural laws that we have come to see it as a karma? Because that natural law of cause and effect, the cause of the thoughts you think, the effect is the reality you're living. Those who talk about lack are living it. Those who talk about abundance are living it. You don't see successful people go around saying they're a failure. It's not luck or coincidence. It is precision on the universe's part. And then getting many different avenues. You know, it's like, wow.
I say God bless you both. You have really explained so many things that I don't think other people can really understand, but you explained it in the best way, and I admire both of you.
Well, thank you, Loretta. And it's an honor to do what we do. Yeah, because I always say this is not only what I do, it's who I am. I don't know how to be anything different. I got to be me, man. And that is how we're going to stand out in life. Yes.
Good.
Do you.
That's right. And God bless you, and keep on doing what you do.
Thank you so much. And we're doing it together, Loretta. That's beautiful.
No, you can you can also stay there if you want to listen, or you can email. This is how you do it. You go, and I'm going to give you an address that is so simple. Bob Charles at USA.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay. That's it.
Yep.
Okie doke.
Beautiful. And look, that signature out of all of them will get her directly connected with you.
Send you a copy of this show.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Loretta.
All righty. God bless you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
The people in Europe turned around and they said, "Well, where are you from?" And I heard they got that so many times. You know, it's like, okay, I'm on the internet. Hi. You know, oh, you're in Ukraine? Oh, okay, I'm in USA. And finally, something in the brain that went, I got it. So now when I put out that address for people to send me things, I get them 1, 2, 3. How can you goof?
Mm-hmm.
USA.com, boom, you got it 1, 2, 3. And Bob Charles, I mean, let's face it, I'm all over the net.
Beautiful. Yeah. But like we have the email, we have the ether mail.
Right.
Because each one of us have our own unique soul print. That's why I call ourselves a soul print, because we're like fingerprints, unique. Nobody is the same. And not only that, there are a number of times that I share with people that a lot of times before I even have a session with somebody, their loved ones will start coming to me, sometimes the day before, otherwise in the morning before I do the appointments. And then I'll start the reading with sharing what was given to me. Because I've learned now, 50-something years, that when they do that, there's usually a strong validation. And my thing is, you know, well, don't you find that interesting? I'm Joe Schmo. I haven't met you that I'm aware of, yet your people knew to come to me out of 8 billion people. You know, that's good guesswork.
Telepathic. And
it's a connection. Yes, unification. Yes.
Exactly. So that person is thinking about you, and that person that's on the other side is receiving you, and then we have a soul print, so it just follows the yellow brick road in a sense.
That's the point, and it's where do we go from here?
Right.
Now we have enough guts to become that inner space astronaut and discover who we truly are, which is everything. It is truly interconnected. It is all one, as crazy as it is. And, you know, I think that you bring up a very interesting point for me that I share, and that is, Every time I've merged with the oneness, I haven't had to die to have my experiences, thankfully. But in this case, every time I merge with the oneness, it is like the best mood you've ever been in, the best meal you have ever had. And I feel so complete. My soul feels full. And I don't have all of the regrets that humans have to make life choices, and we got to learn to live with it, one way or another. And I coulda, shoulda, woulda. And after many years, I asked Chi, my master guide, I'm like, Chi, how is it that when I merge with the oneness, I feel so amazing? I feel so complete. I'm just being myself. And he's like, well, Jimmy, on a quantum level, all experiences are happening now. All potential outcomes are happening now. Your soul print of consciousness is connected to each and every one of those alternate realities. And just because you're not aware of it does not mean it's not being registered into your Solodex or Akashic records, whatever we want to call it, as an eternal soul print of consciousness. I'm like, God, that makes sense. He's usually very good about giving me some insight in a simplistic way. I'm like, thank you, thank you. Because being able to see that and experience it, and then he's helping me so that I can help others, it's a win-win.
It's logical. I mean, it's just totally logical.
And when we can, let's be practical about the spiritual stuff. Like I said, because to me, everything's spiritual. It now becomes, what value do we place upon life, experiences, soul prints, all of those types of things? Because what we're really doing is getting to know ourselves. And I can only speak from me, that's it. But fairly recently, I was just sitting there. I wasn't meditating. I was just sitting there. And that quick, I became everybody I ever interacted with. I felt every single energy exchange and came back to me with the words, how'd you treat yourself? I'm like, oh my God, that stuff's real. Freaking, you like to be treated. That stuff is real. It is. There is no separation. And I asked Chi, and he's like, that's a life review. I would think, I'd see it on a screen, and I'm like, I am everything. It was just within it. That I don't even know how that's freaking possible. Right back in complete unification of oneness.
Everybody says that thing with the life review. You know what I mean? You can see, and your guide shows you and everything else. Because I got the guide on the way back. I met him before I went.
Isn't that interesting? That's a pretty good timely connection.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you go into this review thing and everything. I didn't have the same thing as I've heard other people say they had. I mean, there's a few of them that I've heard, like a long story about this thing, and that they show you about where you were, what you did, the bad things you did, the good things you did, what you could change, blah blah blah, the whole thing. I didn't have that kind of thing. I had in like seconds, it went through my mind. I could see it in my mind. There was nothing on a screen. There was nothing on anything else. It was just like,
screen of consciousness.
In one ear and out the other. It was like right through. I knew when I finally did wake up, you have no idea. There was an encyclopedia of my brain that I had to go through. I mean, there was so much. I mean, they did a download, just dropped it on my head.
That's all you needed. Right.
I'm serious. It was so weird. And does it change your life? Maybe. You know what I mean? I'm not rich. I never made it to I was the vice president of a big company, but never got to the president. I wanted to get to the president, but hey, whatever.
Now you're the president of your own career, your own dynamic.
Yeah. I'd be the boss now.
Yeah, and you've done it. And not only that, but you're able to help others to help themselves. We can't do it for others, but we can do it with them.
See, that was the last thing that my father had said when I left. He said, people need you. That was the last thing he said. Now, I figured it was because of the kids home, and the wife and the whole thing, and that was home, and, that's who needed me. It wasn't until years and years and years later that I finally figured out, I mean, how stupid could you be?
Click.
Out, right? It was like click. It's like, people want to be helped. I don't have to tell anyone what to do. I don't tell anyone what to do. I find out what they did and tell them how they could amend it.
Right. And we want to, yes.
You want a guide. You don't want to order. it's I hear people all the time. I mean, they're way younger than me, and they have stories. I mean, I thought ours when we were kids and that were bombastic stories. It's like the world's gonna fall apart. No, these are worse.
Yeah.
These are worse. I mean, forget about the whole thing. Everything. The world's gone. Forget about it. But I mean, these girls that I was talking to the other day, and it was like three of them, and they were having this conversation. I'm sorry, man. I had to eavesdrop into one of the conversations that they were talking about. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want them to hear me saying it on the show, because they're probably listening too. They don't trust me. But anyway, the thing that they were talking about, and I turned around and I said, why don't you try this, And we're talking about guys and relationships and marriages and not marriages and living with, all these kind of things. So I gave them some tips, and the girl said, well, how would you know something like that? I said, well, I've been around for a little while, so I mean, I know what works and what don't work. So I said, I'm telling you one that I proved works. So I said, if you want to use it, fine. This is like a month later, and that it was it last week? No, the week before last. She came back and she said, I got a cat. I said, well, okay, congratulations, you got a cat. She goes, my boyfriend didn't like it, so he moved out. I said, told ya. She wanted the boyfriend to move out because she thought he was cheating on somebody. And then she said, She says, well, I'm going to get a cat. And he said, you get a cat, I'm moving out. So it stuck in her head. She got the cat.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
I told her, I said, sometimes you got to use what's inside you to guide you. It will guide you. If this is what you feel, if that feeling is there and that it is true to you, do it. And she did.
To get an outcome, right? Because I always say, I can feel all I want, but what's the validation? If something feels a certain way, what's the outcome? I always want to reference a practicality. And in that connection, those feelings, again, are the language of the soul. People shift.
I was so afraid not to ask her whether he had an allergy to cats or scared of cats, whatever.
Maybe it was just a scaredy cat.
Yeah, could be. But it was too much. I mean, I couldn't. When she told me that, I was you'd have to see me, man. I was on the floor. I was dying.
Oh God! She's looking like, "You okay, boy?"
Yeah, see that it worked.
But see, I think that's a beautiful dynamic. Is a lot of times we've got to have that firsthand experience, even though we may not understand it. We've just experienced it, and then possibly we can share our experience with another person. And a lot of people, I want to feel like I count. I'm not just a number or a product or a service. And you're talking with me, not just to me. Okay. And I love that because people will give themselves the value point of consciousness to go, okay, maybe someone is listening to me. You know what? I've been wanting to say things, and I love that because people heal themselves. We're really never the healers, only the facilitators. But I have a lot of people who come to me that feel very comfortable with me. I'm very honored and thankful. And a lot of times they'll open up going, Jamie, I've never, ever said this to anyone before. And I'm like, yes. And I'm sure I've done that in many other lifetimes. Because when they're opening up their soul, man, and they haven't said it, they're looking at you going, boy, you judging me? I'm like, and when they can feel that genuine sincerity, the receptivity, that it's not judgment, but understanding and compassion, they open up and they build upon that. I love that because they start amping themselves up to go, this is freaking amazing. I'm like, yeah, aren't you? And look, you're the one who's doing it. You're the one who's opening up. And I love when people get their own realization of the true power that they have. They could have stayed with not saying anything, yet they felt comfortable enough to be able to open up and express.
See,
and I love that.
You said it, though, the power that they have. Every single one of us has our own flame.
Yes,
Inside us.
Exactly.
Every single one of us. And, to make people realize that, you almost have to hit them in the head with a baseball bat. I mean, it's like, hey, I'm talking to you.
That'll get the attention. Right?
This is what you got. And they look at me and they go, what are you, crazy? And I'm like, no, man, I ain't crazy. No. Do I look crazy to you?
And that's the point. You're only crazy till it's validated.
Yeah.
And that is happening for a lot of people that are now starting to be activated. Because again, as I always say, right, everyone's a psychic medium. Everyone has the ability. It's, do you want to use it and what level do you want to take it to? And then, a lot of people tend to fear using their abilities because they're afraid, well, I'm going to be out of control. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times when people start to open up and start reading energy, they'll tend to pick up on the negative stuff because it's a sloppier vibration. So it tends to get people's attention. The good stuff is like this. And so a lot of times to be like, if that's all I'm going to see is the negative, then I don't want to do this. Bump, bump, bump. And I'll share the fact, I'll go, you do realize what you're saying, right? You control your abilities. Your abilities do not control you, or you wouldn't be able to turn that volume down. You never turn it off, because if you got a soul, you're a psychic medium. You just turn the volume down. And they're like, oh, well, yeah. And they'll start sauntering down their life's lane, and they'll start connecting with some of the intuitive information or experiences that they had that back then they were seeing one way. And now, with just a different perspective, not better or worse, but different, they're able to look back on those very same circumstances a little differently. Because, again,
you have someone else on the phone.
Cool.
Who's on area code 818? You're out there somewhere.
Hey guys, it's Messiah.
Hey, Messiah, what's going on? I love that name.
Not too much. Thank you. I'm in college. I know I talked with you guys before I was in college, before I had my second baby.
Congratulations.
Going pretty well. Thank you. Yeah, I just kind of was listening in a little bit here at the end, but
Hey,
yeah,
the little one wants to listen in too.
Little one wants to be heard.
He's watching his older brother play around in the crib, in the youngest crib. So
awesome.
Yeah, everything's mostly good. I don't know. I guess I have questions, but maybe they're a little too personal for a radio
Yes, ma'am.
show.
There could be another time that we could connect. Yep. I want you to always feel comfortable. If you don't want to open up in this way with everyone, don't. It's that simple. Honor that. But I will say congratulations for you. Keep going. And that you're doing this not only for the kids, but for yourself. That is truly powerful. Because, like I do, no matter how old our kids get, they're always going to be our babies. That's the point. When we can live our lives and realize that, hey, you know what? There's a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times where we get to choose a lot of life circumstances and potential experience. Hey, I'm going to go in this lifetime so I can learn this, get that, learn this, and see it possibly a different way than what I've been seeing it. And then we're allowed to come back. But I'm seeing a lot of these kids that are very old souls. They are born back in right at this time to go, well, isn't that kind of interesting? This is the threshold of consciousness. This is the tipping point of consciousness for this planet. So over the past number of years, there have been a lot of old souls, people who have come back to this planet a lot more than the average, that are able to have a grasp on some of the stuff that's going on. Not everything, but a good grasp on average thing. And when they can at least have their own knowledge, their own empowerment, because as a kid, for me, I was like, what am I even here for? I don't even know what I was born to do. I just did it. And that kind of connection, a lot of these kids are finding their calling at a very young age. It is impressive. And the good thing is they just know that that's what they want to do. They don't think and believe. It's a drive. It's a hunger. And I love that because a lot of people are starting to open up to their own spiritual awareness. The good thing is question everything, just be open.
Yeah, I kind of is like a weird, not weird, but now I'm not like babysitting for someone else. It's a different responsibility having my own child, you know, or my own.
Yes, ma'am. And that's that firsthand experience to go, nope, we'll always be good for others. We will help others in any way we can and include ourselves as well. So I say, hi, I'm Jamie. I'm no longer a hypocrite. I will always be of service to others, and I do keep myself included because people graciously will offer, but they don't always know how to help the one who helps everyone else. They'll offer, if there's anything I can do, I am here for you. They mean it, they just don't know what to do. So a lot of times they're looking at us in a different way to go, what are you going to do? Because I'm now looking at you and I'm learning something one way or another. What is that thing? Okay, because a lot of times a person wants to learn from someone else's experiences without having to go through it. It's like, why not? Instead of having to go through all the crap, what about all the good stuff too? We can just start to open up to life again. And when we open up to life again in whatever way, we find that life within us, bring it to the surface of consciousness, and begin to live more than just survive and exist. And what did you go to school for? What were you going to college for, Messiah?
I guess kind of quick. If I could touch base on, I'm in Indiana. I'm from Arizona. I was born in California.
Wow.
And I lived in Arizona for a good chunk of time, 11 till about 18, and then on and off since 18, traveling.
Wow.
From California and then now Indiana. And I kind of don't know if seems like things start to work here like in my favor, and then there's quite a bit of hiccups, and immediately I just want to leave. Like,
well, sure.
I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like there with that topic.
And
some insight.
And it's not easy, especially when we have a circumstance or a dynamic that's happened. And then we'll start to expect it. We're like, oh, it just seems to keep happening. And then we don't realize that what if there's a potential that we're now creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, that things can change. We just needed to change our way of seeing things. And in this case, notice you've moved around somewhat. And the good thing is you're still here, and you've brought in some beautiful children into this planet. Not only that, that kind of a connection moving around has given you an opportunity to maybe see and feel things a little bit differently with each state. Hey, when I'm here, I feel this way. When I'm here, I feel that way. And the good thing is even though I know it's not easy and it's kind of coming in and then things are going askew, what I would love for you to think about doing is just take a minute or more a day and start with a minute. And I want you to just sit down and feel successful, feel the happiness, feel the energized love in connection, and just be open. Don't limit it. Don't say anything to anyone. Prove it to yourself. And then just be open for how life will start to grow in that direction. Because in the beginning, when we start to manifest things, the average person is just kind of seeing the tip of the iceberg of what we're creating. They don't see below the surface of consciousness and all of our life experience and tools and techniques that we built upon to get to that point. And on average, when they see us manifesting things, they'll start to do this. God, you're so lucky. What a coincidence. And I'm like, yeah, luck, sure, coincidence. And then I'm able to share to go, if I'm doing what I say I'm doing, you know what, let me just share with you this. I don't know any better or worse, but maybe differently. And sometimes from that different perspective, you get a different vantage point. And the good thing is you're great, Messiah, for helping others, and you're finally including yourself. When people can see it's okay to count yourself in, that it's no longer narcissism, but maybe self-realization, okay, because you're not claiming to be everything's amazing for you and you're trying to help us little people. It's like, okay, you've gone through your stuff too. And you know what? I'm loving your end result. So if what you're going to share with me is going to get me more of what you're doing, I'm listening because I love your end result and you're living your truth. But I always say if you're talking about things and you're not living your truth, I equate that like you're 800 pounds at a gym telling people, I'm going to show you how to look good. The average person is like, well, that's a great intent, but that may not quite be the end result I'm looking for. Find ourselves within life. We'll find that life within us and bring it to the surface of consciousness and bring life to those around us, which is exactly what you're doing with these beautiful children. And the good thing is you just have to be you.
So, like, Oh, sorry.
No, you
No.
go. Oh, go.
Go right ahead.
It used to feel like things happen more so, like things in my life used to happen more so, more magically or more connecting, like it happened for me, or like it would appear in my experience, like, oh wow, like someone would notice me and see me as like, wow, I want to be around that person for X, Y, and Z, and like it just seemed like that, and now it doesn't feel that I'm fighting for it. I mean, it feels that I'm like, I don't know, it's a new place, and now I have this these responsibilities, and I don't know, it's weird. I just feel not even isolated at this point. It's just like I feel like I'm in a growth spurt, like I did when I was a teenager. Just
Excellent.
uncomfortable, ugly, even though I know I'm beautiful inside and out.
Right, sure.
But like that weird feeling of like, people can see like parts of me that I don't, mistakes I've made in the past or whatever it is. It just feels like I'm a sore thumb a little bit, or I don't know. I guess that's a good way to say it, kind of.
Yeah, but I just want to point out, Messiah, and when you listen to this back, all you're doing is thinking, all you're doing is talking about the past. Yet, look at the emotional response. You started amping up. It was a positive experience. And then we get back in, and it's certainly understandable, we get back into the moment, and it's like, oh. So your homework, if you're interested, is a minute a day. I want you to vibe the way that you were just saying. It just happens for me, right? Not to you, for you. Exactly. That's a beautiful key of communication. And for me, because I want an end result, for me, it's what are these meditations and mantras manifesting in my life, or why am I doing it? I want to be very practical. And anything that I do, I share with others. Nobody has to listen. I know it works for me. I at least want to share a different perspective, not better or worse, but different. And I feel like that's what's happening for you is your own life experience. You've always been very independent. Now you're the mother figure for beautiful kids, and not only giving them nourishment, but you're finally counting yourself in too. And when our kids can see that it's okay to do that, because you're, in this case, Ma, you're taking care of me in every way you can. You're like, well, of course, that's what I'm here for. But it's also, we're here for ourselves too. We've just come into that direction of, this case, the beautiful children that we can just love. Why? Because we can, because we choose to. And they love us back for us just being us. That's the point. It's not always easy. I think, like I do as a parent, it's like, okay, well, guess what? We can always do better. So let's learn from it and keep going. For me, I give myself permission to do the best I can with where I'm at, what I'm aware of, and I keep going. And when people can see it's okay, and it's not that it's all easy and everything's just happening, it's like, well, let's get more practical. And for me, I want to be able to manifest things, but able to share that to go, what I'm doing, everyone can do. Let me just show you that it's possible. And that is a lot of times what people need to know is, okay, you know what? If you can do it, then maybe I can do it. I'm like, yes, freaking brilliant. Exactly. And that kind of connection, when they put that to the test and they start manifesting more of the positive dreams and aspirations, less of the fear and negations, they start to become a little bit more willing to go, you know what, I'm going to take 2 minutes a day now and be on that positive vibe. Because again, to me, there's no karma but natural laws that exist. So what we tend to vibe with will come back to us. Whether you want it or not, doesn't matter. If you're vibing it or thinking about it, you must want it because you're planting those seeds of consciousness of what you do or don't want, depending on what it is. And the challenge is most of us are very much aware of what we don't want. We want to change that. I'm like, okay, that's perfect. You already know what you don't want. What do you want? And they're like, so just a lot of us get used to trying to approach the problem to change it, and then we keep getting similar circumstances. And after many years, I was asking my master guide Chi, I'm like, Chi, what the flagnog? Why am I getting more problems of the very problem I'm trying to change? I'm trying to change it. And he's like, that very reason. I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, Jamie, you have the right intent. However, if you keep approaching the problem, you're only intensifying the problem. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I need to change the problem. And his response was, if that's the problem, create a solution. I'm like, sounds like semantics, playing on words. And his response, the way you approach the universe, it approaches you. And it's the little things that most of us will do our life and not even realize. Because I always share the fact that for me, because I've always done the spiritual stuff, but I would do this, universe, keep me protected, keep me protected, keep me protected. Because I felt I needed to be kept protected from the oddball energies. And again, after many years, Chi was like, Jamie, you have the right intent. However, if you keep asking the universe to keep you protected, it will continue to bring you more circumstances to keep protected about. And I'm like, what the flag
Yeah,
knob?
that's what's happened. Like, I was a switch in awareness
Yep.
for myself of things like that. Like,
Yep.
I used to ask a lot of times for protection, or I turned to, for the longest, the Christianity, Jesus Christ. My father had resulted in that. Like, that was something that he found to find like he found some amount of consistency in. So he shared that with me, but I maybe just like a drug or something, used and abused, almost like I thought that, well, then I can cause a problem and then I can just pray to Jesus. Like,
Right.
I did all sorts of things. I found myself in a rut, and then now I always used to be, before that, I naturally just really found myself being very spiritual at a young age and aware of lifetimes. But now I don't know, it's just my comfortability with being aware has changed since becoming a mother, because of the responsibility that comes with that. So before I, experimented with smoking tons of marijuana as a part of my journey, and all sorts of different
Right.
that.
Yep. Part of the life experience.
Yeah, but now I'm more like careful and mindful, because I've been in the what someone would call a loony bin. I've been in the hospital because I suppressed so much that I've been in a mental hospital because I suppressed so much and tried to maneuver things and using magic or whatever alchemy, trying to do things in a way, but I ultimately suppressed it. I didn't resolve much.
Right.
So now I'm kind of trying to resolve things while still understanding the knowledge of alchemy and spirituality without abusing or misleading my own self, if that makes sense.
Excellent. Yes. Do you want some homework?
Just a weird.
I would love for you to think about doing this, okay? Because when I was younger, I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. People would go, oh, yeah, okay. And I used to think to myself, even as a kid, you have no idea who I might be. You're going to treat me like that? I didn't know who the frick I was at that age. But what I do now is, as an adult, 58 years, I have done a number of meditations where I go back to a younger me. And I share my life experiences, what I've been, what I'm doing, where I'm at, all of those dynamics of contributing to humanity. And in doing that, I'm like, click. That's why I felt like, oh, you have no idea who I might be. I didn't know who I was. And now all of these years later, I'm starting to see what that future me was coming back to now, the present me. Because right now, we are the future compared to our past, and the past compared to our future. Everything is happening now at this moment. That's why I kind of equate, like the timing from Australia about 17 hours in the future or ahead of us as we perceive it, or the Hawaiian Islands, which is usually a couple of hours behind. But we can reach out right here, right now, either to the future or the past, and not lose ourselves in the present. It becomes more of a unification. To me, it's all one, it's all interconnected. So when you have enough guts like you do, and you're willing to go, it's not easy, but you know what? I'm going to freaking keep going. Because that's also a gift for the kids. Yeah, they get to see mama growing into her spirituality, going, how are you doing that? How's that working for you? Because they know mom, they're not ignorant. And it's that case when they can see,
Yeah.
yeah, what you're talking about is getting a positive outcome. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? Think positive? It's not always easy, but that's why I'm saying if we can give ourselves pocket of time, a minute or more, to just sit down and feel that happiness, feel the success, feel the opportunities, and then just be open. Let life bring it and do it for you. That is when it becomes effective. Because I playfully say, I'm lazy. I don't want to have to work hard. I'm going to work smart. I'll let the universe work it for me. And it's not work, it's facilitation. It's integration. It is organization. As crazy as it is, it's all precision on the universe's part. So nice job. And thanks for being such a good mom.
Yeah, guys gonna have to connect on a private
Mhm.
private
Yeah.
line
Yep.
somehow.
Yep. And that way you
Now,
can be comfortable to open up. Yes.
Yeah, I'll
what we
do
were
my
gonna say, what she had said too, when you were talking about the part about the connections to your whatever, like when
Mhm.
you're up in that and you try to unsteal these things. Like she has a little one with her right now.
Yeah.
Thing that she's going through right now. Don't forget it. You admit it. You admit it into the other people that are around you. Case in point, last week, the end of last week, guess who was here? My daughter. Never been here.
Wow.
Telepathically. Now, I don't know whether this worked because half of it could be baloney, but I mean, this is what I did. She was going, she's a vice president of a very big company, and she gives classes and she comes to see, parts of the company in different places. She was going to land in Tampa. Well, I asked her what time she was going to land. Told me what time she was going to land. I thought as hard as I could, you know, till like she goes to Orlando from Tampa. I'm dead center in the middle. The highway is like 2 minutes away that she would pass. So I'm thinking, right? You got to stop. You got to stop. You got to stop. She doesn't know where the hell I am, and she knows the address. That's about it. So okay, you know what? I see this car go by the window. I'm here. I'm here on the thing, and I'm doing what's this? One of the writing things for one of the intros. And I see this car go by, and I felt it. I felt the car. So here I go running out the back door. She already went around the block, so I wasn't gonna run around the block. I figured she'd probably be back. I didn't know who it was at that point, right? Comes back, parks in front of the thing, gets out of the thing. She goes, "Dad." I said, "I knew it." She said when she was coming up the highway, she felt she had to get off at that exit and just take a look and see if it was, because she saw the sign that says Lakeland. So she figured she was going to get off and just, see what it is. But she had my address on an envelope and she put it in GPS, dropped her off right here at the front the gates or whatever. And in she comes. And it was like so cool.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that they don't transmit thoughts. That there was a time I thought that you didn't either, but it's worked a couple times for me lately. Well, I have no idea. But for her to show up, now she's been going back and forth to that for years. Never had the feeling that she had to pull over. That one time that I thought the hell out of it, like if she's going to go that way, she's going to stop. The one time I did that, she wound up here.
Yeah, huh? What a coincidence. How
Yeah.
lucky.
Now they say you can't change things. Yes, you can. And when they say I am as I is.
Yes. Two most powerful words in the universe, I am. I
Exactly.
was, right, not I will be, I am. And to be able to have enough guts and to experience that the best that we can and come up with our own awareness. And if we can help our kids, we'll do that. Because for me, thankfully, my boys, as they were growing up, they knew me only doing this work, and it's not work, it's who I am. But it was great because working with law enforcement and scientific studies and all that good stuff, my oldest son, because my boys both use their abilities beautifully, very intuitive, very loving, very compassionate, but like their dad, doesn't take crap. So it's really nice because my older son, Chad, became a police officer for a number of years. And I'm very proud of both of them. And I was happy for him, my older son, but I was also very glad when he left the force to do his own business. Because I think, like I do, every day they go out that door, you don't always know if they're going to come back through. So I was very proud of him, but I was also excited that in his own way, he used his own abilities to guide his own life in his own way. And not only that, became a guide for other people if they were open. Not that he knew everything, because he didn't. He was always very honest and sincere. But if he could give you a piece of information that maybe could get things a little bit differently, then it's like, okay, I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but click, that's the first time I kind of see it that way. And when people can see that there might be a different way to see things and experience it, okay, well, if you can do it, then I can do it. Yes, exactly.
A little piece or a suggestion can rewire your brain.
Huge.
It really can.
Your soul.
Yeah. It just, all of a sudden you're like, I got an idea. No, you didn't have an idea. I put it there. It's one of those things. I mean, let's face it. I mean, what she does, what mine does, and everything else, and that we had the first computer was a Commodore. Look this up when you're off here. Commodore 64. That was the first computer that we had in our house.
Wow.
All it is a keyboard, and the keyboard is the computer, and you have to buy, you get the monitor and everything, and that's how it is. And you also get the 5 1/4 disc floppy thing that you put the stuff in. Okay. I actually started her making games and things.
Oh.
You can basically make any game. That's no big deal. I mean, the programming for that's simple. But to make it do what you want it to do, that's a whole nother ball game. So she started doing it, and it was fun, to her, and she did it, and her friends did it, and I got them all in there, and they're all making their things, their floppies, and the whole 9 yards. Then, she grew up a little bit, went through the high school and everything, wanted to go to college. I said, no. And she said, but at that time, we were already divorced, and I wasn't home, so it was like kind of, this commute kind of thing. And I said, no. She said, but Dad, you can help me out with the college and everything, because she was really a smart kid. So to get a little money from the state, no big deal.
Cool.
But she just, she went all kinds of crazy. Her mother, of course, went through the roof. And I said, no, but I will get you in a technical school. And she said, well, maybe I can't, do. I said, no. I said, you got the math, you got the whole 9 yards. I said, don't worry about it. You'll do it. Got her into the school. 2 years later, okay, she comes out of the school, and one of the biggest schools, one of the biggest places in New York, I did communication for that company. So I talked to the president, who was a friend of mine. We used to go to lunch. I said to him, look, you're going to hire my daughter. So the guy says to me, he says, what, are you crazy? I said, no. I said, I'm not crazy at all. I said, you got to hire her. I said, she's good. I said, you'll like her. I said, you can mold her a little bit. I said, she's out of the school. She's good. She's got her, degrees and everything. He goes, all right, send her in. Let me talk to her. 2 days later, he calls me back and he says to me, he says, you know what? He says, she's got a brain. Okay. That company that she started with, did very well with, was sold to another company, was sold to another company. She never left. All the companies and everything. She got to the third one. This is laser technology. This is like way up there. But what she learned in the first company, from the school, to the second company, from the first company, et cetera, made her unbeatable. She gives classes to like 50, 60 people in some of these places.
Excellent.
And the funny thing about it was, and she said the other day, and then when she was here, she says, Dad, I wouldn't be standing here if you didn't tell me I couldn't have a college. And she still remembered it. That's why I'm bringing it up now. It's on my mind fresh.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But it was funny because I'm saying to myself, what do you know what you know, and you know what you know because you wanted to know it. So do something that you know already. Don't go and try to learn something to mold yourself to it. You're already molded. Now, spread your wings. Go do it.
Do you have the guts to do that? That is huge.
You did it.
Yes. Because it can be very scary from that different point of view to go, okay, I'm flying. Hope I'm not going to crash. It's like, well, good, then keep going up. Try not to get that upper limit problem that most humans tend to have. Every time something good happens, how about something better can happen? Why does it always have to frickin' tank?
And when you look up that computer, that's the computer that
Commodore 64.
started her career.
Wow.
That
Beautiful.
was the cause of her career because nobody had computers. What, the whole thing. And then
Yep.
I was in communications in that at the time, and that I had the dental laboratory in New York for 21 years, and then I was in Jersey, and then I came over to Jersey, and I said, hey, communications, good. So I started. The internet was right on the edge of coming out. They were using high-speed telephone wires
Yep.
at that time. But internet was a whole different ball game. Like when I talked to the first guys that were doing this, they didn't know what they were doing. This is like Bell Labs. I was there. I mean, it's like they didn't. I'm listening to these guys talking to each other. I'm saying, wait, you didn't say what he did. One of those things. And when the first test site that was in New Jersey that we did it at, that was the place. I think you've heard the story before. I went out to Kmart and bought 6 Princess phones. We had one wire in the back on the back board on a telephone. You know what the telephone boards look like with all the wires and that hanging all over the place and that plugged into things? Okay.
Yep.
2 wires, 2 single wire, piece wires. We connected it to this plug thing, with all the plugs that to plug the phones into. Those 2 wires were the internet, one wire for internet. Put it into the thing, plugged all the phones into it, and the guy that was there, the tech that was there, said, okay, everybody make a phone call to somewhere. Anywhere in the world. Wow. That was the beginning of the internet. There was no like you can't do that, you have to pay this.
Exactly.
Yeah, this was like free call. So we all called somewhere and we heard somebody on the other end of the phone. So it was like
powerful.
Come on, like the original Bell guy, that called his assistant, and the assistant hurt himself because of the acid in the telephone or something. But I'm serious. I mean, those kind of things that are around. And because of that, I got into the computers, and we were working on IBM 360s.
Wow.
If you want to look at, how old they are. I mean, they were my size, They were like 6 foot tall, these things.
Yeah, yep.
And it was really, really funny, too. One of the tapes that would fall on the floor when it was in reverse. Zing! The thing goes shooting across the room. Oh, yeah. We had those kind of things happen. But all these things are what makes all of this, what I have here, work. So that's why when I get on a computer, I have a little friend of mine that tells me what to do, and I do it.
And you listen.
But these are all things that made us what we are. Your soul is nothing but a computer. Your brain is nothing but a computer. All those things take in all those bits of information and hold them. You, if you have half a brain, mine was split in half, but even if you have half a brain, you can connect into those spots, into those places, those little memories, those little things that can actually literally change your life. Because all of a sudden you just go, why didn't I do that? I'm going to do that. Okay. And you do it. Or people, so many people today that I talked to, so many people that are looking for jobs. I said, you'll get a job when you're comfortable with the job. You don't have to do the job to be comfortable with the job. You have to know the job. You have to go look at the job. You have to feel the job. And when you feel the job, you'll feel good and you'll feel bad. I said, instantly. But I said, if you do that, I said, it works. If you think you're going to get a job because of the paycheck, forget it. It don't work like that. It's good. It's good to get a good paycheck. That's good. So you pick 6 jobs to have big paychecks. So now the money's out of it because you don't have to think about the money. You got to think about the job. What are you doing? What job are you doing for the paycheck?
Right.
Not paycheck you get for the job. Don't put the paycheck first. Put the job first.
Excellent.
And
And
if
let
you
it speak
enjoy
to
it,
your soul. Yes.
yeah. I mean,
Beautiful.
I must be totally out of my mind. I've been doing pieces for 5 years.
That's awesome.
Hey, what else can I do in the morning? You know what I mean?
Well,
Hey,
and that's a great thing is you're not just limited. You're like, hey, if I'm going to do something else, I'm going to do something else and add to the bigger picture of life. And
well,
the great thing is you're doing it.
you know what it is though. Most of the places that are around here are all businesses. This whole area now is loaded with business. I mean, it doesn't look like New York. It's not Manhattan. Not one of those kind of things. That, let's face it, I stood on stage for 38 years. I mean, come on. I can talk to anybody. I don't know who it is. Anybody. You could be laying on the floor. Hey,
Yeah.
get up, damn it.
Usually you were the one laying on the floor.
No, really. But you go through all that stuff. I'm telling you, and you come out a different person. You really, really do. And we're changing. We're changing every day.
Yes, every moment. Yes. And it's our awareness that keeps the continuance of that life experience. Hey, like, yeah, but each moment is a gift of life.
There was one thing that I did want to congratulate you on, the production company.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Oh, it's
Yes,
great.
I saw that the other day and I went, yes.
Yes, we've got cards and everything now. So the great thing is I've got a lot of ideas and stuff. So we're having fun creating different shows. And a lot of them, I'm like, God, that's freaking brilliant. Because it's fun. And if you can make it entertaining and informative, why not?
Well, you guys are doing the shows.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's our ideas. We're just going to be putting those things together as we move along. Yeah, because it's. I have more than that. But what I was sharing is a dynamic to go. Let me share it first. I'll say it. I'll tell you, and then I'll manifest it even more effectively. Now it becomes a little bit more solid, not only just ideas, but manifesting those ideas. Now we've got the physical realities we perceive it to go, oh, you know what, that looks interesting. I think I'll connect with that. That's a huge dynamic.
What is the name of that production company?
Mindsight Entertainment. Mindsight Entertainment, definitely.
I saw the other thing too, The Gift.
Yes, yes. And it's those types that we want to bring shows like that with the gift of the spiritual awareness, with these abilities, with these tools and techniques and the scientific methodologies, putting the practicality to the spirituality. And when we can do that, you can make it entertaining and informative. Doesn't always have to be the serious stuff. It's like, man, let's have fun with it. That's why I love doing television and radio and podcasts and all that kind of stuff, is because it's fun. And again, you can have all the talent in the world, but if nobody knows you're there, whatever.
You also realize that we are teachers.
Yeah, in our own way. Yep.
And you teach what you know, and that I try to teach people.
Oh, that was cool.
Life. That was she hung up.
Okay, wow, I'd like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, when you hang out, you get this.
Wow, very cool. Well, and again, look, you've got a place for people to come to. They can enjoy, they can listen to different shows, they can get the fullness of all of the things that you've created just by tuning in. That's kind of how life is. It's all happening now. Do you want to tune into it or not?
Well, I have talked now, and I did one show and nobody showed up, and that was kind of interesting. But I mean, it's just like anything else. That people talk. I mean, it's a thing in it where the only way to find out what people are thinking is to talk to people.
Right.
And the way to do some kind of a show like that is get a bunch of people into like the Skype or some other medium, and get them in talking about something and put a subject on it. And usually, and I'm a by my pants kind of guy. You know what I mean? I'll listen to or talk to a bunch of people there for a few minutes net, and I'll just right onto a subject. But
you understand exactly. You understand where they're at, so that you can communicate and talk with them, not just to them.
Yeah, but it'd be something that you could play for somebody, or somebody could play the show and learn.
Yes.
Because people learn. It's just like anything else. Like, let's face it, humanity is the way it is right now. Anyway, are sheeple. They're followers. They listen and they follow. So many people listen to these other channels and that are on TV and everything else, and I'm serious. I mean, you want to talk about fact check? At 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. I mean, you could call here at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting right here,
Wow. Yeah.
and I'm going through stuff. I mean, I'm getting. I have. There must be about 20 news lines have coming in here. So I mean, I hear it all, and I see it, and I read it all. You know. So when somebody says something to me outside, if the what's I get goosebumps up my back, I know I saw that one before. You know.
Yep.
I will correct if possible.
See, in those indicators, like, oh, when it feels a certain way, okay, let's go. Then it's more effective to act on those feelings, different than emotions, but the feelings of life, the vibrational patterns of energy that emanate from it just by being it. And when we can do the best we can to help others and ourselves, then we start to realize that it's all one and that it doesn't always have to be a trade-off to go, no, I'm fine, okay, I just want to make sure, which is nice. However, if you're wanting to improve something, if you're wanting to change it, just give yourself permission to change it in whatever way that you might want to do. Start with one choice. And then when you can make a choice and then get the result of it, okay, you know what? I made that choice and it played out this way. Now I've got a result. I've got an action and a reaction. Okay, perfect. Now we start to lose less of the fear and gain more of the empowerment.
Good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, because, a lot of times what we don't understand, we tend to fear. And on average, what the human tends to fear, they want to crucify. Like, yeah, well, okay. But
no, if there was more understanding, there'd be less fear. In fact, there'd be no fear.
That is the point. That's why they can present it.
That's why they call me an alien. I'm a very logical type person. I don't get scared of anything. I mean, it's like you have to say, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this, so it must be this. But after you do that for a number of many millenniums, it's like you go, oh yeah, that's it. Yep.
First nature is the essence of who we are.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when we can put those dynamics to the test and then get a result, because again, what are these going to manifest or why am I doing it? I always want to be very practical. If I can see my action and then the reaction to that, gives me a reference going, ooh, I like the way that played out, so I'll react the same way or a similar way to another circumstance that might be along those lines. Because I've already gotten validation, and in this particular case, that particular choice brought me a good end result. And then when you start to get on autopilot, like, it just keeps happening. And then I'll point out to go, well, isn't that psychic? Aren't you now saying it before it happens? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, well, something to think about. They're like, yeah, maybe okay. And when we can be practical, because I just love to share it, but then I'll put a different energy, like they're like, got it, okay. Move from the airy-fairy stuff to the practicality of spirituality, because we got to do the best we can to fit this spiritual stuff into our lives, because if we can't, we start feeling like a nut job and an outsider to go, oh, it's a beautiful day. Holy crap, is anyone else experiencing this? Funny, but it can sometimes be very lonely. But you're left alone to find yourself and realize we are always complete. 100% a person incomplete and others are 100% incomplete. And not 50-50, and they're never complete, only complement.
We are cool.
Yeah, it's always good, Bob. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I'm honored.
Hey, we're going to have a nice evening. For everybody, I mean, your friend on 718 is still on the phone.
Awesome.
And everything. And you know what? To tell you the honest to God truth, she's such a nice lady.
Loretta? Yeah.
And it's one of these things where you have good people that call up that want to know things. And I'm hoping that it'll let goes. I mean, like, hey, I built a phone system that takes 999 people.
Wow. That's excellent.
I'm missing 997.
But guess what? You got an open door. If they choose to walk or call, in this case, on that, it's already available for them. You have already done the work that needs to be done in order to give them that freedom to communicate.
The other thing with Talk Now, and that I can put 50 people on the screen.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, this screen that I'm looking at now, I don't know, it's like 36 inches, maybe.
Cool.
In that ballpark somewhere. The other one's like 50 or 40, 48,
Nice.
I think it is. So yeah, I'm going to be able to sit here and go, "Whoa, go ahead, now, yo."
But if it's kind of like life, can we be the observer and the experiencer
I'm
and
serious.
realizing it's all happening?
Seriously, people can learn from each other. I've said that a billion times, and most of the time, I have people say, "No, no, no, I'm not going to learn from no stupid ass." Well, how do you know he's stupid ass and you're not the stupid ass and he's the smart guy? You know, not
I'm
unless
always open.
yeah,
Yep.
not unless you open your mind, you open your whole perception of what you're talking to. You know, that person is the same as you,
Yep.
exactly the same. So if he's a male and you're a female, don't matter. He is still a human. See, I've said this so many times, all the way back to when I was like 20. You know, I
A
used to
long time ago.
where our dental lab was in Manhattan. We were on let me see, 335 West 35th Street. That's where we were. We're right in between 7th and 8th Avenue, right around the corner from Macy's. From my window, I could see Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
So that's where we were, right at the entrance of the Lake Tunnel. So to do that, to get that whole thing, you got to work through the part that's not the good part. I mean, it's like little Harlem, you know, one of those kind of things. Do you know those guys, we'd sit down sometimes and have an ice cream or something like that, or a drink or a soda or something like that. And we'd go through like talking for like an hour or so. Now, don't forget, I'm Bush because I've been at work since 6 in the morning. So, but I mean, these guys were all cool. I never considered anybody a danger. If anybody was a danger, I was because of what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
was danger. So eventually, those guys used to watch my bike when it was parked over by the parking lot. Nobody touched my bike.
Right.
I don't know whether they'd walk away after they touched the bike, but
Either way, you always had your bike to come
yeah,
back to.
one of those kind of things. Then, so I mean, it doesn't matter who the people are. We didn't see colors. I don't see. Sorry, I'm colorblind anyway. My whole life is in black and white.
Wow.
So if
See,
you're
that's the
not
point.
that screen, forget it.
Right. It's just a color. That's the
Yeah,
point. We're like vehicles. What paint job do you have? Great. That's beautiful. Perfect.
exactly. I don't see bad people. I mean, let's face it. Bad people are bad people because they think they're bad people, and it's ridiculous. I mean, they just say, "Well, this is the way I am." I've heard that before.
I'm sure.
This is
Yeah.
the way I am. My father did this to me. You know. Now you're blaming. You know, like, hey, man, like you are.
See, right. And that's the biggest thing is to give ourselves the empowerment of self-realization because so much, yeah, we'll give the other person the power. And here's what we'll do. You make me happy or you make me angry. You don't make me anything. I
Right.
make myself happy or angry in response to that particular circumstance.
Yeah, I just wish that everybody listening to what we're saying right now takes what we're saying or get a copy of the show and play it on their phone. You can plug these things right into a car, and you can listen to it
Yep.
while you're driving and things. They have to realize that we're all individuals, but we're individuals as a whole. The whole is every single body that's standing on this planet. So we are part of the whole. You can't turn around and say, well, I think that. Well, good. You think of maybe the guy in front of you thinks a little different than you do. So why don't you put his idea and your idea together and you'll be unbelievable.
And create a new idea. Yes.
That's how
Blending of consciousness. Yes.
that's how we got Microsoft, and that's how we got Apple. It was a bunch of guys with the wrong ideas, putting all of them all together, making a million mistakes, and coming out with a product that now took over the whole world.
The world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That
go
is
figure.
huge.
It's
Yeah,
not-
huh? Do you and keep going, baby. Share the love, share the knowledge. It's always good, brother.
Oh, baby.
Let's
You know what he did?
do it.
That's what happens when you push the wrong button.
Button pusher.
right here. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, you know, whenever Jamie and I are around, whenever him and me, you're going to learn a lot. Why? Because we talk about ourselves, we talk about you, the humanity. We talk about you, the humanity. We talk about so many things. All these things are particles of our service to you, our history with you, our world with you. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.